Okay, today I got an email from one of our listeners talking about the growth of the two people. What happens to your world and to your marriage or relationship whenever you start growing and evolving and changing and understanding what you know different, and the person that you are the closest to and love the most in this world isn't, from your perspective. And this is one of those, what do you call it, a real life example manifesting, uh, giving you an opportunity to use the tools and to remember what you know. And when you really truly accept and understand that you are a beautiful, radiant, rare, and precious cosmic miracle, and so is everyone else, then you have to accept that the other truth that this is a free will universe. We have all made soul agreements, and we've talked about this many times over the shows, uh, that we make with each other, which are designed to assist each other's evolution. Sometimes we may play the bad guy, sometimes the good guy. Sometimes we'll be there for a long time, sometimes we'll be there for a short time. Sometimes we'll pass as strangers on the street or overhear people talking at a table in a restaurant. They can be fleeting moments or they can be lifetime moments. It depends on the soul agreement. And each person is responsible for recognizing that within themselves. And it's not a matter of putting it into words and being able to define it to the rest of the world. It's a matter of being able to feel and know your heart well enough to know when a soul agreement is complete, and when it's not. And whether this is an opportunity for you to do work, whether it's opportunity for you to continue learning the lessons that you need to learn. But the bottom line is that we're going to each evolve at our own pace and our own way. We each bring in with us lifetime after lifetime of experiences and false beliefs that we have learned and been conditioned to. Remember, when we're born, we come into this world and we immediately have to be conditioned to it to be able to survive in it. And I know this sounds a little strange, but you have to be conditioned to the false beliefs again to be able to change them. Even though you died holding that very same false belief, you have to be conditioned to it in this life. And so, again, we're always being given the opportunity to evolve, whether it's through seeming coincidences that are divinely inspired and guided, or whether it's through the interpersonal and personal relationships that we have. So we have to allow each other's growth independent of ourselves. We don't have to like it. We don't have to agree with it. We don't have to be on the same page as another person. That's not what it's about. And again, unconditional love doesn't demand that. You know, if the situation gets to the point that one or both of the beings that are involved can no longer walk the same path, then those choices are going to become obvious. Otherwise, see it as an opportunity to grow and learn and to experience. Because someone doesn't agree with you, because someone doesn't have the same perspective you have, doesn't make you wrong. This is your opportunity to shift the crystal and look at it with clearer vision and say, well, why should they? If I believe that I am the only one of me there is, why isn't that true for everyone else? We are each all uniquely individual and independent. We all have the gift of free will. And we are all going to make choices that benefit us, and we're going to make choices that give us an opportunity to choose different, because it didn't feel good, it didn't work. So I think that's really one of the most important things that we can come into that awareness of, is that we are all uniquely individual. As parents, we have an obligation to teach our children. Let me rephrase that. We have a responsibility to teach our children how to survive in the world. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to think like we do, they have to believe like we do, but they have to understand how the world is full of judgment and comparison. And they have to be strong enough and be in their heart and in their truth enough to be able to withstand the judgments of the world that are going to be placed on you. And, you can be the most perfect being in the world, but there's still going to be those who are going to find something wrong with you. Truth of the matter is, we are all perfect for ourselves. We will never be perfect for anyone else. And it's an absolutely useless waste of energy to try and mold yourself after anyone else or anything else. People as our role models provide us behaviors and moralities that we may want to emulate in our lives. But it's not that person we want to become. We just want to integrate that quality within them that we find attractive and positive and resonant. And sometimes we kind of get the message confused a little bit. So, bottom line is that each person we have to give ourselves and each other the opportunity to evolve the way that we need to evolve without the change, the constraints, the judgments that dictate that we have to do it someone else's way. You are not that person. That person is not you. And you can never do it their way. And I've said before, we can have many parallel and similar experiences, but because of who we are individually and what we bring into this world, whether it's through memory, through the cellular memory, through our heart, whatever it is that we bring into this world, it is uniquely ours, and no one else has walked a mile in those shoes. Nobody has had those journeys and had those experiences and learned what they got to learn as a result of it. So as you embrace your own uniqueness and your own individuality, you have to be willing to give that to the people in your life, the ones that you love the most. And like I said many, many times before, those are the ones that you're going to find that are your greatest challengers. Because when you change, or even when you don't change, you are forcing another person to change as well. The status quo will never be maintained for very long because change is the only constant that we have in our world. We will shift and change, and if for no other reason but because Gaia is vibrating higher and shifting and changing, you got to resonate and vibrate with that same energy or you're going to cease to exist on this planet. That's scientific. That's just the way it is. It is to your benefit to embrace your uniqueness, because the more that you can embrace your own uniqueness, then you can embrace everyone else, the people, the opportunity to be who they truly are, even whenever that's not what you think they should be or where you think they should go is not the point. You're not living their life. And shame on them if they're letting you. And if you have that awareness and you're still attempting to do it, then shame on you. We each have to be able to experience and express the way that is right for our soul's evolution in this world. We have more light on the planet now than there has ever been since time began. And more information is coming in as a result. The grid, the net, the energetic net around the planet is loosening, and as it becomes looser and looser, more light comes in. More information is being had. Experiences that were so common, so normal, so automatic that were just accepted without question as a part of the way life is experienced are no longer being tolerated. People are finding a different way. And, this is also one of those things, God bless the children, because these children are of a higher vibration. They have a different DNA. They have a different consciousness than those of us who have been here for a very long time. You know, it's a different energy. It's higher. It's of a higher vibration. These kids, quote unquote, are not won't be conditioned and programmed in the way we were because they vibrate higher. Those same fears don't exist within them that existed within us because we were given that information when we were in the cave, so to speak. As we are emerging from the cave and these children are being born in the light, nothing that was in the dark scares them. So they don't see the world the same way, and they are changing it. They are helping Gaia vibrate higher. And, don't take my word for it. Look around. See the kids in the world around you. How are they experiencing and expressing? It is different. And different doesn't mean good or bad or right or wrong. If nothing else, I hope that the information that I have shared with you has made you realize that judgment is the key to shifting everything. When you release the judgment, when you release the good or bad or the right or wrong, or the need to compare, or the need to make everybody else believe the same that you believe or think like you think, or feel what you feel. When you can release all of that and truly be who you are, you have just made the world a better, so much of a better place you have no clue. Give it a try and see what happens. You know what happens when you don't. So, step out there, take that leap of faith and do it different. Trust yourself. Believe in your own uniqueness. Believe in your worth and value. And know that if you can believe in yours, you have to believe in everyone else's. And, honestly, sometimes that's going to end a marriage or a relationship. But then there are going to be many other times that it's going to strengthen it. It's going to create a new one. It's going to solidify. We're in the process now of finding the vibration that resonates with us. We are more conscious that it even exists. And this is one of the things that is so important for us to come into that awareness of. We have to find our balance. And we have to do it without judgment. We have to come into our truths and our awarenesses without making somebody else wrong, without defending, explaining, justifying, or rationalizing, but waking up one day going, aha, wow, that shifted. It's just what is. It's acknowledging what is shifting around you. How, even though you may be losing friends and familiar places and situations, you're gaining new ones. That whenever you open your heart and take a deep breath, you realize that they are more fulfilling to who you are now. And that's not to say that the other ones weren't good for you. They were. But you've outgrown it. You can't expect a 6-year-old to play with toddler toys or infant toys and be happy about it. It's the way of life. We grow, we evolve, our interests shift and change. And the universe is a fluid dynamic with us in that process, and it's bringing to us the things that we need that will assist our process, that will feed us energetically and help us continue to evolve. Bottom line, creation is on our side. The universe wants us to evolve, wants us to succeed, wants us to recognize who we are. It realizes that we have been buried in the eternal goo for so long that so many of us don't have any idea that we are this big, beautiful light. We've never been able to see it, nor have we been able to see it reflected back to us. And I think that's something that is important, because as we see it within ourselves, we can reflect it to others. And as they can see it reflected back, we become mirrors. And so many times people talk about mirrors being a bad thing because it reflects to you portions of who you are and how you are perceived. But that's also a very positive thing if you can receive the information without the filter of judgment. Alrighty. So I'm going to take a quick break here and wet my whistle. To those of you that are just joining us, you are listening to Easy Knowing, and I'm Sherry Kennedy. I really would like to hear from any of the listeners out there who have comments or questions or even want to share an experience that validates the things that we've been talking about. So give me a call, 773-897-6227. And as always, if calling doesn't work for you, please visit my website at easyknowing.com. We just got all of these shows put up on YouTube, and you can also access that link through my website as well. So again, visit the website, check what's in there, go through, make a donation. My book is available on there. If you would like to share your story, I would love to hear it. There is a comment section. Send me an email. Okay, so getting back to what we were talking about. Remember that we create our own imbalances. But the blessing in that is that if we create them, we have the ability to uncreate them. We were not aware. We didn't create any of our false beliefs or the imbalances that we are experiencing in our world with conscious awareness. We didn't sit down and say, how can I mess up my life today? How can I get sick today? How can I, we don't do that. Because, the powers that be realize that they don't have to. All they have to do is plant the seed, and we'll take care of it and do it from there. We are, because of the conditioning and programming, we are so conditioned to see ourselves as victims and at the mercy or lack thereof of outside forces. We're always looking for someone or something else for our answers, and then we're really disappointed when it doesn't happen. Our own power is the best kept secret of all time. And that's part of what's happening here, is that through the Ascension, through humanity's evolution, we are discovering our own unique power. And this isn't the power of the powers that be, quote unquote. This is the power of heart. This is the power of truth, of wisdom, of being who you are, of meeting your own needs, of giving yourself your own worth and value, of just stop waiting for someone else to give you what you already really know is within you. Why does somebody else have to approve of you? Why can't you approve of yourself? Why can't you comfort yourself? Why can't you meet your own needs? We are so conditioned that that is a bad thing, that it's wrong. Okay, that is not true. And those of us who have ever tried to do it, because we don't know how to do that in a positive way, we always come across as being arrogant or egotistical or narcissistic or, some other negative expression, because we are coming across that way because we don't know how else to experience and express what our truth is, what we really believe. There was a time, not within my lifetime, where being able to have this type of a radio show to talk with people about this topic was absolutely unheard of. We are evolving and new information is coming in. And the thing about it is that when you keep hearing the same information over and over and over again in different ways, then it's time for you to start paying attention. Look at what this information is. What are you so stubbornly holding on to? What is working for you so well, keeping you in the misery and the negativity and in the judgment? For you to be of worth and value does not mean that someone else has to be valueless and worthless. That's judgment. We apply judgment in our lives so often that we don't even know that we're judging. It doesn't even occur to us that it's a judgment. But start thinking about it. When you make anything good or bad or right or wrong, you are in judgment. Anytime you compare, you are in judgment. That's not to say you can't share your opinion. but share your opinion by owning it, by making it yours. I think, I feel, it's my opinion. Well, I believe this. Own what you say and say it in a way that is to the highest good of all. And sometimes that's going to be a little bit challenging, because we are so automatic in our thinking. We say so many words that we don't even realize that we're saying. I call it creating a bush. A person trying to explain something will defend and justify and explain, and that bush just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When the core of it is just such a simple statement of I feel unloved, I feel unworthy. But as you defend, explain, and justify, that simple statement expands and gets hidden by all of the reasons and all of the experiences that we don't really know what the real truth is, even from ourselves, because we get caught up in the branches on the tree, so to speak. And before we get through telling the story, we're already up on 2 or 3 other trees and don't know we've left the tree yet. And of course, I'm using that as a metaphor for our beliefs. Remember, you cannot have a thought without the power to carry it out. So people are always feeling like they're a victim. That, oh, this is happening to me. They did this to me. And, again, this is a judgment. This is putting things back into good or bad or right or wrong. We are in a free will, free choice universe. So nobody is a victim. Now, whether you are conscious that you have agreed to participate in the experience or the situation is irrelevant to the fact that on some level you have, or you wouldn't be there. And that's not just some blow-off statement to justify it. When you stop and look at what's really, really going on, you are either teaching or learning something very important to your life or to the person's world that you're affecting and influencing, whether you're aware of it or not. And most of the time, we can only see a lot of this information in hindsight after the experience is behind us. And a lot of the reason for that is to give us the awareness to trust that in any situation, the highest good is being met, whether we see it or not. And I'm going to go back to the book being the representative of the experience, the situation, or the circumstance. The powers that be, quote unquote, have convinced us that the focus of anything that's going on in our world has to be the book. It's too big, it's too little, it's tattered, it's torn, it's too new, it's not big enough, blah, 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 blah. When the truth of the matter is that simply represents an experience, a situation or circumstance that you are being given an opportunity to evolve through, to look at it different. What are you learning from this experience? And I don't care whether there's one other person or 200 other people involved in it. Each person will learn something from that same situation or experience. That same book will teach whomever is participating in the event something that they need for their lives. And I guarantee you it's not going to be the same as yours. And their perspective is just as valid as yours from where they're seeing it from. And whenever you can see it from another person's perspective and vice versa, it gives a greater understanding and awareness of the big picture. So instead of being so caught up in what happened or what the event was, be focused on what you're getting to learn from it. How is this affecting you? And look around. How is this teaching those that are involved in it as well? We're all connected. And if other people are involved in that particular event, then they're there for a reason. It's the soul agreements. It's being connected again. It's being brought together to give each other the opportunity to learn, to evolve, to become aware of what you know and understand from a different perspective. That's all it is shifting the perspective back until it resonates with the truth that we each hold in our own heart. But the important the most important part of this is for you to recognize what's in your heart, be who you are, meet your own needs. Everything that I'm talking about is just a tool that you get to use to make yourself aware. Okay, am I trying to please other people because I'm feeling insecure? Okay, well, if I'm feeling insecure, then where am I giving my power away? What am I feeling insecure about? How am I judging me? That's your job. And trust me, it takes me 10 times or 100 times longer to say it than it does for you to actually do it within. When you decide and make that choice, it's a snap. You'll have that information in a heartbeat. It takes me 10 minutes to say what takes you 10 seconds to do. So again, be aware and use that awareness as your evolution. That's what it's about. We're all conscious, but awareness is it's a different vibration. Being consciously aware is very, very different than just being conscious. And that is the objective. But it's to be aware from within. You have to understand and love and accept and value and experience and express and allow and receive yourself. And when you start doing this, there is a snowball effect or a domino effect. There are so many things that will shift and change just by this one act. Dots connect. There's these aha moments. And what seems like no big deal is like removing a redwood in your forest of your forest of beliefs. It's very, very important to use the tools to allow yourself to manifest, to discover. We can't become anything. We can only discover what we already are, because we are already beautiful, radiant, rare, and precious cosmic beings having a human experience. And everything that every human on this planet experiences, whether we see it as good or bad, right or wrong, horrific, traumatic, vicious. Man's inhumanity to man is well documented. But each of those experiences allows humanity to evolve. And it allows the soul that allowed the experience to evolve immensely as well. This is a very short time in our existence. When we live less than 100 years as a general rule. So all of these experiences are collective because we are one. And these experiences we all have the opportunity to tap into. In a sense, it's like the internet, only way more better. Because we all are tapping into it on a continuous level. We're just not conscious that we're doing so. Have you ever had the time when you said, I wonder what this would be like, and then all of a sudden you knew? Or you've asked a question and you get the answer. These are real things. This is what it's all about. Learning to trust the unseen, learning to trust the unknown, and learning to discern whether it's to your benefit or not. And I'm not saying good or bad or right or wrong, but discernment is very, very necessary. To discern that it may not serve you to step out in front of the truck doesn't mean it has to be good or bad or right or wrong. We definitely have a responsibility to discern what works in our lives and to understand what that means. Choosing what is to our highest good without having to negate or ignore or resist or judge anything else. There isn't that need. But as long as we are conditioned to believe that there is, we will stay in that chaos and conflict. And that's what's important that we become aware of, because we do get what we ask for. We say, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for that. But I never get this when I ask for this. Well, it's because we do get what we ask for, but we're so mired in the victim thinking, in the judgments, that we are still experiencing today what we created yesterday. And okay, so yesterday we said, yeah, I want to receive all of the good in the world. But then you had 100 thoughts that said, oh, I'm not worthy, this is bullshit, I can't go there, blah, 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 blah. And you expect that one statement to stand out. Well, it doesn't work that way. What you feed, you receive. What you feed grows. What you feed, you attract. So if you're going to be feeding your lack of worth and value and your victimization and your illness and your disease and your chaos and your conflict, then that's what you're going to keep experiencing. And in a lot of ways, this is on a personal, individual level, it's the micro aspect of what's happening in the world with all of the violence that is going on. And of course, our news media is just going to keep our attention focused on the areas where there is the violence and the negativity. But these are the pockets in Gaia. If the Earth is the body of Gaia, just as our bodies are the home of our spiritual being. And whenever we have imbalances within our body to the point that they manifest in cancers and tumors and fatal illnesses, Gaia has the same issues with the pockets of negativity. And in the area of the world where there is so much violence right now are the areas of the world where there has always been so much violence. And it has to be released, because the thing about it is that the energies, the vibration of the earth now is so much higher that as it's pushing this energy out and it's exploding on the surface or in this new energy, it's dissipating it. It's not being buried and held in the earth in the way that it was in the past. So as it evolves, as Gaia vibrates higher, this negativity is definitely coming to the surface so that it can be cleared. Now, don't make the mistake or fall into the trap of believing that the negativity is going to create more negativity. It will, on the surface, it will make the icing look all like somebody's been playing in it. But the cake is becoming more solid, stronger, better foundation, pure. And that's what it's all about. We're seeing it happening all over our world in so many different ways. We're seeing it in the political realm. We're seeing it manifesting in our world, in just every level: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, social. Every area that affects our way of being and our consciousness in this world is being given the opportunity to clear. And it's so easy to get sucked into it. You know, just like in our own physical bodies, as we're going through this ascension, our bodies were created to withstand the density of the third dimension, which is where we have been experiencing and expressing for the last, however long. But at this time, what's happening is that we are becoming lighter, we're vibrating higher. So our bodies are literally being reprogrammed, and our DNA is shifting to release the density of the third dimension, because we cannot vibrate as high as the earth is vibrating in the density of the third dimension. So each of us is being changed internally. We are able to, more chakras are being activated. We are more sensitive. We have more intuition. We have the veils between the worlds are becoming thinner. There are so many manifestations to everything that is going on if you just look around you and see it. Shift the crystal on what you think you're seeing. Kind of fun in a way whenever you can start doing that, because it gives you many different ways to see what's going on. And shifting the crystal is always good. In my class, I've got this big, beautiful pillar cluster. And it's very different no matter how you look at it. So I set it in the middle of the table. And each person sees a different part of that crystal. And then we shift it, and we shift it, and we shift it, until each person sitting around the table has seen the crystal from all aspects. And each person, as a result, has a better understanding and awareness and picture of what that crystal is in the big picture, rather than just what the facet that they're able to see that's right in front of them. So the more you learn to shift your crystal, the more information you receive, the more compassion, the more tolerance, and you will get to a point very quickly, because this is in resonance and alignment with what's going on in the world. You will get to a point very quickly where you won't be able to judge anymore. It literally becomes painful to put that kind of negative energy out there, whether it's to yourself or whether it's to somebody else. It just doesn't feel good anymore. And whenever you can change that mindset, change the verbalization and the way that we talk, the language that we use, begin shifting it. I have found that to be the best way to start learning how to be consciously aware of the language, of how we speak to each other. Start eliminating certain words from your vocabulary. That's a big challenge. And we've talked about this before. Words like I'm sorry, try, but. Start with those 3 words and see how different your language becomes. I'm going to add a 4th one. Make it not. No, the word no or not. The word try, but, and I'm sorry. Take those out of your vocabulary and see how you have to speak differently. See how much more positive you have to create what you're trying to say. Without those words, it's extremely difficult to be negative. At least that's the way I worked it. But these are these are tools, Use it. If it works, keep using it. Get better at it. If it doesn't work, then quit wasting your time on it. But don't throw it away until you try it, until you use it, because you have no idea what you may be holding in your hands without realizing it. Always remember that it will take me 100 times longer to say how to use the tool than it will take you to use it. And the more that you use it, the faster it becomes, until it's second nature. Just remember, your job is what, Creator's job is how. And if you can stay focused in the what, your world will change seemingly overnight. And that, again, is another big challenge. These are tools to use. Pay attention with your language. Change the wording of what you say. Pay attention to the energy, to the belief, to the thought that you're feeding, because that's what's going to manifest in your world. And whenever you look at what is manifesting in your world, take a second to sit down and reflect in hindsight how you were experiencing exactly what you have been claiming in the past. Not because you're a horrible person or to beat yourself up with, so that you can see what has been happening and change it. You cannot change something you're not aware of. And to accept and to acknowledge and to become aware of something is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. But you had to recognize that this behavior is no longer serving you before you can stop the behavior. It's really pretty simple. But again, it's one of those things that is just so obvious, so in our face, that we don't even see it until somebody points it out to us. And once you start seeing it, once you become aware of it, it will continue to reveal itself in amazing ways. Have you ever been in a situation where you learned a new word that you'd never heard before, And then after you learned what that word meant and became consciously aware of that, of the definition of the word, you started hearing it in everybody's conversation. But until then, you never heard the word. That doesn't mean it was never said. You never heard it. And that's kind of the way it is with everything. Until we're ready for it, it's not going to be there. The universe isn't going to give us more than what we're ready to deal with. But when you're ready for it, and it's something that your higher self, that your soul has asked for in this life, in this incarnation, then it's going to keep appearing until you get it, because that's to your highest good. Ego doesn't want it to happen because ego's terrified. Ego is so afraid, especially in the beings whose spirit has not completely become conscious yet. Because ego's looking around and going, oh my God, the boxes are dissolving. There is no box anymore. What do I do? How do I do it? Help, help, help. And pretty much freaking out and grasping at the straws and just really trying to maintain the status quo no matter what, stay the same, no matter what. That's ego, babe. You've got to be able to recognize that behavior and let it be okay to be scared. Acknowledge what you're feeling, feel it, and let it be okay. Tell ego we're going to get through this. We already have all the tools that we need. It's just like going on an adventure you've never been on. Your job is to put this into a perspective that will allow you to have the adventure of it. And when you can do that, then you can have fun with it. Because it really is a great journey. There is so much fun to be had as you shift the crystal and change your world. And watch how other people's world changes too. Where in the beginning they were so angry and pissed off, and then after the fact they're so grateful. I really like my life now. I didn't like the way that it changed or the process of the change, but I like the outcome. And that's okay. You're not supposed to like it. You don't have to like the journey. I call it kicking and screaming. And believe me, there have been many, many times in my world where I have been kicking and screaming. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what's to my highest and greatest good. And I'm also going to be aware of the fear involved. And I'm going to verbalize that as I go through the process. One of my dearest and closest guides, Archangel Michael, belly laughs at the fact of me saying this because it's so true. Because I will challenge it all. All right, does this have to be this way? I don't have to like it. Why do you do it? I will challenge everything until I understand it. But my higher self knows that what is to my benefit, and through that I know too. I allow my ego to have its say, but I do what is right for my heart and for the highest good. And that is allowed. We're all there. Just don't make your ego the bad guy. Understand its purpose, understand what it's done, and give it what it needs. It's part of who you are. It is a part of you. And if your ego needs to be stroked and have attention and acceptance and validation, whatever you want it to be, you give it to it, just as you give it to yourself. That's when you find your balance. That's whenever you find that inner peace. And that's when you come into a place to where you can allow those around you to experience and express their world the way they need to for their evolution as well. And because a marriage ends or a relationship changes doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. In a lot of ways, it's the beginning of Isha's new world. I strongly believe that you always honor that part. That I just have this real hard time with jealousy, of women being jealous of all of the past relationships that their man has had, because he wouldn't be who he is, and he wouldn't be with you without them. And if you really are honored and in your truth about being in this relationship, then you would honor the women who have blazed the path before you, so to speak, from mama to aunts to every other woman who affected this man's life, and vice versa. It's not just the men, it's the women. You know, do not be jealous. It is a wasted, useless emotion designed to create chaos and be a food source for the powers that be. And if you just shift the crystal on a little bit, you'll look at how absurd it is to be jealous of anyone or anything. You are the person who has been chosen, so to speak. Okay, it looks like we got a caller, so I'm going to push the little button here. Remember to turn your computer down or the sound off. And hello, are you on?
Hi,
You're on the air.
hi, Sherry.
Hello, sweet thing. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Oh, I am good. Tell everyone who you are.
So my name is Allegra, and I have known Sherry for over 18 years. And I was
Oh,
just calling in today to just thank you so much for all of the assistance that you have provided me, from assisting me bringing my beautiful daughter into this world to just talking to me and guiding me and helping me throughout the years. I really, really, really appreciate you. And I just wanted to share with your listeners that sometimes it feels like you're stuck in mud, but eventually, when you get out of it, it's an amazing and beautiful thing. And your words, Sherry, always stay in my head as far as it's the hardest, easiest thing you'll ever do. And and I get that now. So, just different things that have happened in my life, and different opportunities for growth and a different perspective and ways to look at things, and just, going through the ascension process and understanding it and seeing how beautiful it is. I just am really excited that you're doing the show, and I will forever be grateful to you for the gifts that you have given me and my growth.
oh, thank you, honey. It's been my honor and pleasure and privilege. And I want to say that Allegra brought this beautiful daughter into this world, Aaliyah, and between her and her parents, they have raised a beautiful, conscious young woman who is just a beautiful light in this world. And they've used the tools and walked the path, and I'm so honored to have gotten to be part of that for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thanks for calling in, sweet thing. I love you.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Aw, that was such a great thing to hear from Allegra. And like she said, she's been through many of my classes whenever I was teaching the classes. And one of the things I always tell people, this is the hardest, easy thing you'll ever do. It's so hard to wrap your head around the simplicity of what I'm saying. But once you do, it's like, oh my God, this is just so cool. And that's what it's got to be. These are not things that you want to take and say, oh, wow, that was just such a great show, or that was just some good information, and then take it home, set it up on the shelf, and never think about it again. These tools, this information is designed to work in your everyday life. And it's not something that you find time to do. It's not something that you're going to get to. It's something that you experience and express every single day of every single moment. You are a living, breathing, live, and conscious being. And life happens to us. Whether we're driving in the car, whether we're sitting watching TV, or outside, experiencing nature. Life is happening all around us, and how we experience and express our perception and our perspective of that is uniquely ours. Stop waiting for other people to give you permission to live your life. Stop waiting for other people to get on board with what you believe. They will never be able to do that. And you're creating very unreal expectations. All you can do is share your vision, share your information, and if it resonates, hallelujah. And if it doesn't, then that's okay too. Oh, yay, we've got another phone call. All righty. Pushing the button here, and just remember to turn down your computer. Hello, you're on the air.
Well, hi, Mama Bear.
Oh, it's Miss Cheryl. Hi, sweet thing. How are you doing today?
Well, I just had to call in. I was the whole time I've been coloring, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is my new Sunday morning service. I mean, listening to your show and coloring has been a fabulous combination of energy. And I just wanted to share, because I know, it's almost ready to wrap, but I wanted to call in prior to the show even starting and ask about, judgment and how do we feel our feelings in terms of a situation without judging it. And I know that this has tripped me up. I feel that part of my feelings is to say, that's not right or that doesn't feel good. But I'm hearing, and that's why I didn't want to call any sooner, because I wanted to hear everything you had to say, and you really stayed on the topic of judgment this morning as if I was, getting all my answers. And I am going to listen to this show many more times because I think the subtlety of feeling our feelings versus judgment, I think there's many layers, and you've brought it to my attention many times, and I'm not going to judge that I'm not there yet. I'm simply going to say I feel that there's layers to it that can be happening before we even catch it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why, again, I say things so many different times, the same thing over and over again, is because each time you're going to hear it different, whether it's a different layer, whether it's a different level on the spiral upward towards your consciousness. There are absolutely layers of it. And I'm glad that you became aware of that and expressed it in this way, because I'm hoping others did too.
Well, it's and I've heard it referred to judgment versus discernment. Discernment is about discerning,
yes,
figuring out what's right for each one of us, for what's right for me, and not blaming somebody else because whatever it is they're doing or the life they're living doesn't resonate with what I want for my life. I loved how you said early on, we have to own, the difference is, well, just own it. Okay, this is the life that works best for me, or this is the choice that I choose, instead of saying, well, because they did X, I'm leaving this situation. I don't want any part of this. Instead of saying, I simply like to do X, or I like a different energy, and I'm moving in that direction. It opens up a lot more, and then your comments about choice of words, leaving out not and but, and those other words.
That is a challenge.
And I mean, you've taught me about omitting but, and it does make you pause a little bit more to say, and, you know, I like XYZ, and I also like ABC. So I'm looking at, you know, which I like better instead of I like, you know, XYZ, but da-da-da-da. So thank you. Thank you for...
Oh, you're so welcome.
For the topic you were guided to talk about this morning, because it was absolutely perfect for me.
Well, I am so glad to hear that. You are very, very welcome. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Okay. Look forward to hearing you next Sunday, and you have a great, wonderful, fabulous, magical week.
You do the same.
Okay. Bye.
It is just so nice to know that it's resonating, that the information is making a difference in how people are experiencing and expressing what's been going on in their world. I think the hindsight part is something that is so valuable, important too, is when we're in the middle of an experience or a situation, it's very, very difficult to see the bigger picture, you know, and once we get past that situation, then we can look back at it and see what we were really, really taught, what was really going on, and then evolve that and experience and express that in our worlds at that point. So, my goodness, I just got notice that it show's almost over. So I want to thank each of you for listening, and a special big hug for those who called in to share their stories. So until next week, follow your heart's song and paint the world with the colors of your soul. Bye-bye.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories. Today's story, Marty and the 2 for $4 croissant.
Yeah, I go to Burger King. They got that croissant deal, 2 for $4. It's wicked good with the sausage, dude. And 2 for $4, that is a huge bargain. Huge.
Well said, Marty. Tasty, savory, sausage on a flaky croissant. Hey, this is not breakfast. This is a Burger King breakfast. Get 2 croissant sandwiches now for just $4. Only at Burger King. Price of participation vary.